A deadly crash in southeast Bexar County is still under investigation. What investigators say may have taken place just before that crash happened.
And we're tracking what's going on with Hurricane Sally. We're going to have the latest coming up.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
New this noon, a pair of Bexar County Sheriff's deputies have been fired.
BCSO tells us both Floyd Berry and Jackie Farmer were fired on September 10th, 2020. Floyd Berry was terminated after being charged 3 times with official oppression on December 7th, 2019. He's accused of forcing women to remove their clothing during improper strip searches following traffic stops. Investigators say they have evidence in at least 6 cases.
Jackie Farmer was terminated after making an offensive Facebook comment that incited violence. BCSO says those comments do not represent the views of the sheriff's office. We're working to get some more information about the 2 cases from Sheriff Javier Salazar. We're going to have the latest on our website and coming up on KSAT 12 News at 5.
A woman is dead after she rolled her truck overnight in southeast Bexar County. It happened at Loop 1604 and Farm Road 1518 in Adkins.
Sarah Acosta spoke with the deputies who are continuing to investigate what caused her to lose control of her truck.
A very mangled truck flipped over on Loop 1604 in Adkins. It's what deputies found just after midnight near FM 1518. During that crash, a 31-year-old woman was thrown from her truck. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office believes she died on impact. The woman lost control while heading southbound on FM 1518, then rolled her truck over 75 yards of road and grass in southeast Bexar County.
Now that the sun is up, you can really see the path she took before she flipped her truck, starting by hitting this pole, going through the grass median, eventually hitting that gravel, rolling her truck several times onto 1604.
Deputies believe the woman was speeding. Traffic investigators say it's still unknown if the driver was under the influence. A witness driving behind the woman told deputies they were coming from a party in the area.
We're still trying to figure out where the party was at. No one was giving us any information as to where the party was at. So we don't know if that's even a true statement at this point. So like I said, it's still under investigation.
The woman's name still hasn't been released. Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
New at noon, State Representative Ray Lopez set to undergo a serious medical procedure. He's having precautionary coronary bypass surgery. It's meant to treat symptoms of coronary artery disease, a condition that runs in the representative's family. Lopez had a mild heart attack on Sunday, and after seeing doctors, they told him surgery would help improve his heart health. Lopez says he's eager to get back home and get back to work.
$1.78 billion. That's how much the proposed county budget amounts to. And it's the big topic of conversation at the Bexar County Commissioner's Court. It's working to finalize the 2020-2021 budget. That budget has gotten some negative feedback from Bexar County constables. That's because it would cut in half the number of deputy constable positions and decrease their workload by 15%. County officials say the move would reduce duplicate efforts and unnecessary costs, saving the county about $2.7 million. Officials have also suggested reducing the security staff at the Bexar County Courthouse.
The deadline to register to vote is October 5th. Early voting starts next month, and Election Day is November 3rd. In an effort to get as many people registered as possible, a nonpartisan nonprofit called Move Texas is partnering up with the Spurs. And as Max Massey shows us, they'll be turning the AT&T Center into a fast and efficient mega registering arena.
We are here at the AT&T Center, usually the home of the Spurs, but tonight it is going to be a home of voter registration. Joined here with Charlie from Move Texas. So Charlie, what is the game plan for tonight?
Well, the game plan is to get a lot of folks registered to vote. Move Texas, we're a nonpartisan nonprofit working to build political power for Texas's young people. We're partnered up with the Spurs here to get as many San Antonios registered to vote as we can tonight.
What is the plan in terms of people getting involved, doing it safely?
Yeah, well, we'll be running here tonight from 6 to 8. People can join us following the signs to Lot 4. We'll have 4 different lanes of voter registrations. About 50 volunteers are going to be on the ground, all masked up, and ready to help people get registered from their cars.
Why is it so important for you guys to come to San Antonio and make sure that people here get involved?
Yeah. Well, COVID-19 has had a really dramatic impact on people's ability to register to vote. Most people register in person on a college campus, at the DMV, at a concert, all those sort of places that we shouldn't be right now. And so we got to make it as safe and accessible for folks as possible ahead of this critical election.
All right, Charlie, thank you so much for your time. And guys, if you have any questions, we have all that right now. Just head to KSAT.com. Reporting at the AT&T Center, Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
And coming up tonight, you can watch President Donald Trump take part in a town hall with ABC News. Undecided voters were able to ask the president their questions ahead of the upcoming election. It was recorded at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. You can watch it right here on KSAT 12, The President and the People, a 2020 special event. It starts at 8:30 and it is set to last 90 minutes.
Now to the latest on Hurricane Sally. Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana all under states of emergency this afternoon. ABC's Elwin Lopez explains folks around there are worried about life-threatening storm surge as well as possible historic deadly flash flooding.
A slow-moving nightmare, inching its way to shore at 2 miles per hour. Hurricane Sally still slugging its way towards the Gulf Coast, but already wreaking havoc. This drone video showing the powerful surge over Dauphin Island, Alabama. Water rushing over roadways, cars buried in sand. Crews shutting down the causeway there. Sally's slow pace increasing the chance of flooding and life-threatening storm surge.
The longer it stays out in the Gulf of Mexico, the more and higher the likelihood is that it continues to grow. 3
states, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana, all under a state of emergency. In Louisiana, water levels rising in St. Bernard Parish well before Sally's arrival. All of this at the same time as a record number of tropical storms churn in the Atlantic.
Now that the storm's path has shifted, the city of New Orleans has really dodged a bullet, but we're still expecting 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. Elwin Lopez, ABC News, New Orleans.
Still cut up at this half hour, the Texans are looking for a rebound after that opening night loss. More on that in a few minutes in sports.
San Antonio has one of the largest Hispanic populations in the country, and many influential figures are in our community that are Hispanic. Coming up after the break, we're going to take a look at one small business owner making her mark. Today is the start of Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are highlighting some influential Latinas in San Antonio.
One of them is local small business owner Cristina Martinez. Her story is part of the latest edition of our Unheard series.
I've been a full-time artist and I guess store owner because it's like a traveling boutique and an online boutique for 8 years full-time. That's where my heart is. That's what I wanted to start with. I always said I wanted to be like the Chicana Lisa Frank. And my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013, and that just woke me up. She's a cancer survivor and she's thriving, but it made me think about all of the dichos, all of the phrases that we've grown up with, like échale ganas, mija, or like ponte las pilas. And so when I merged the worlds together, her advice, my grandmother's words, it really resonated with people, specifically in San Antonio. And when I started using social media in a way that highlighted my work, that's when it really took off. When I really honored being the child of immigrant parents, that people really kind of connected with my work in a way deeper way. I'm not like a typical influencer. People like to put that title on me, but I really like to show the nitty-gritty of what it's like to be a small business owner. And I think people really appreciate that, and it resonates with us, right? Because we come from people that are very hard workers. The need is there, the want is there, and it's only growing. The Latinx market is growing super, super fast, and I think that it really tells people hey, pay attention to us because we're spending our money, we're shopping online more than ever before. So proud of being from San Antonio. I'm so proud of being from the South Side. I still live in the home that I grew up in. I took over. Of being a child of immigrant parents, it's such a beautiful place to be, to celebrate that culture. I think we're very lucky to live in the city.
Congratulations to Christina. You can learn more about her shop, Vary That, on KSAT.com. Also on our website, the San Antonio Botanical Garden will unveil a new garden exhibit this weekend.
Origami in the Garden will feature medals that are shaped to look like origami paper art. The exhibit will open on Saturday with an array of activities. The schedule includes guided and self-guided tours, origami-inspired activities, a cash bar, and food prepared by celebrity chef Jason Dady.
Regular admission rates will apply for opening weekend.
Looking outside with live cam, everybody's watching the skies here and also looking over to our east to see what's going on with our neighbors.
Yeah, Sally's going to cause a lot of issues off to our east. Thankfully, we're not feeling any effects from Sally at all. The aquifer, though, has started to drop a little bit. If you remember yesterday, it had jumped way up, but we're down 0.7 of a foot to 663.7. In your pollen count, ragweed, fall elm, mold, all there, but ragweed and fall elm both in the moderate category. We're going to talk about how long those two allergens will hang around. Plus, we'll have another look at Sally coming up.
Got to really feel for those people along the Gulf Coast, especially around Mobile and along the Mississippi and eastern Louisiana part.
Yeah, and a lot of times we talk about, you know, this hurricane is barreling toward shore. This one is sputtering its way to shore, which is actually more dangerous in some ways.
Yeah, it's crawling. And I think that the rainfall is going to be one of the big numbers that we look at. Sometimes we look at storm surge, sometimes we look at wind. It may be rainfall with this system that really causes a lot of problems. We're going to jump into that in just a second. First, we got to talk about the allergens. You got a headache, stuffy nose? It could be fall elm and ragweed. They really jumped up this week. And here's a look at the calendar when we talk about these fall allergens. Now, keep in mind, mold is pretty much always present here in South Texas. It's jumped up a little bit lately, too, because of the rain. But fall elm typically peaks mid-September, you'll see that. And then ragweed typically peaks early September. And then it stays with us until we get our first freeze, which a lot of times takes until November or so. But we'll see how it works out this year. But we're sort of in the midst of fall elm and ragweed season. They'll be with us at least going into October. So just heads up. It's always something we got to deal with here, right? Outside, we've got some cloud cover trying to develop. You'll see the flows kind of out of the north and east today. Some of these clouds working into San Antonio at this hour. We'll zoom out some. There are some showers and storms as you get down near Corpus. But with any of these clouds, they may start to bubble up into a couple of showers or storms. A lucky few may get a little bit of rain today. Right now we have rain chances at about 20%. They're not great, but that chance is there. We certainly can't rule it out. You look at the big picture here, most of the rain relegated to deep South Texas, some tropical moisture down there, and of course we've got Sally off to the east. Here's what our forecast looks like. High pressure is going to move out of here, and we've got a trough that is developing across New Mexico. That slowly works its way south and east. By tomorrow, it's close enough to where I think we can up our rain chances a little bit more than today. So we'll talk about maybe a 30% chance of rain tomorrow afternoon. By Thursday, this thing's pretty much over us, and our rain chances jump up to about a 40%. Scattered showers and storms Thursday afternoon. That probably sticks around Friday as well. Once this thing moves out, we'll actually get a weak frontal boundary coming through. It won't cool us down, but it will knock the dew points down Saturday and Sunday. You'll see those dew points in the low 60s, if not 50s, which will make for some nice mornings and really a pretty nice weekend. Outside right now, 85 degrees at the airport, 85 Stinson, 84 Randolph. This is about where we were yesterday at this time. So basically a repeat of yesterday. High temperatures will be in the low 90s. 88 in New Braunfels and 86 right now, Carrizo Springs, and 84 out in Del Rio. Forecast high today, 92. A lot of places will be in the 90s, with the exception being the Hill Country with highs in the 80s there. There's a look at Sally, again, just crawling at this hour and already putting down a ton of heavy rain and putting down a lot of storm surge in Mobile to Pensacola over towards Destin. And this is a corridor that will get just a ton of rain. Winds right now are at 85 miles per hour, gusting to 115. It's moving northwest at 2 miles per hour. And so it may take until tomorrow morning before we get landfall as a Cat 1 hurricane. But again, you can't pay too close attention to that number because the impacts are still going to be huge as far as the rainfall and storm surge go. Eventually, this thing moves over towards Georgia. It's still dumping heavy rain along the way. Here's some of the estimates when we're talking about rainfall. 10 inches plus, generally speaking, Biloxi, over to Panama City, but you could see some pockets close to 20 inches, which will create a ton of flooding with this slow-moving storm. If you remember, Harvey was sort of similar in the sense that it just sat there, and you remember the flooding that it caused. So it has been a very busy tropical season, and it's just been caused more headaches there off to our east next couple days. Forecast for us, 20% chance of rain by 2 o'clock. We'll call for a 20% chance 6 o'clock. Northerly winds still in place. Our high temperature today, 92. And look for 92 tomorrow, 30% chance of rain. 89 Thursday, 40% chance of rain, and a 40% chance on Friday, too. After that, the lower humidity levels move in. The weekend looks nice. Yeah, the temperatures are still warm, but those morning lows are back in the 60s. So it'll be nice, at least to start going into the weekend.
I like 2 words on that map: low humidity.
Yeah, it's something that we like in the fall time.
Yeah,
it feels good.
It's time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. Texans are getting a shot at even up their record this weekend, and they're getting a little more help to do it. And one day he quits, the next day he's back. The continuing saga of a Longhorn safety coming up.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Houston Texans got their season off to a pretty rough start, losing to Chiefs last Thursday 34-20. They've got a chance to get things right this Sunday. They open their season at home, hosting the Baltimore Ravens Sunday afternoon. Playing at home is good news, and so is the scheduled return of wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Now, he was a game-time decision against the Chiefs with a quad injury that had limited him in practice, and he ended up with only 2 catches for just 20 yards in his first game as a Texan.
I feel good. I think there is a lot to build on. I think at the end of the day, when you come back to it and you look at the film, in this league, it's all about the little details. And, those are the things that we just got to get back to, this week.
Kickoff against Baltimore Sunday, 3:25. Can't say it's never happened, but it was unusual when Texas safety B.J. Foster quit the Longhorns football team right in the middle of the game against UTEP Saturday night. Horns won it 59-3 to open their season. Foster, who is a junior safety, apparently upset with his lack of playing time in the lopsided victory and quit the team during the third quarter. He met with coaches on Sunday, has decided to remain with the team. He was supposed to go to meetings, so his role will be more defined with the team. Head coach Tom Herman addressed the drama during his meeting with the media yesterday.
He knows what he did was wrong, and letting his frustration get the best of him. It's okay to be frustrated, but we've got to be able to control our actions. And he realizes that, and again, is very apologetic, and will serve as penance internally, and it'll be water under the bridge for us and his team.
Meantime, Longhorn senior quarterback Sam Ehlinger was named the Walter Camp Offensive Player of the Week, the second time in his career he has won that recognition. That's after the Austin native threw for a career-high 426 yards, 5 touchdowns in that 59-3 victory over the Miners. Those 426 yards rank 3rd in school history, while his 5 TDs are tied with the second best. He's also the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. One of the big games in our big game coverage this week is the newly crowned #1 team in the Sub-5A12's top 12, the Poth Pirates, going up against the Dilley Wolves. The Pirates have won their first 3 games of the season by an average of 62 points. They have given up a total of 14 in wins over Lytle, Falls City, and Garden City. And now the Pirates will sail into Dilley, where the Wolves will be looking for their first win of the season in their District 15-3A Division II showdown after losses to undefeated Sabadell, Rock Springs, and Natalia. They give up an average of 40 points a game, so now they have a shot at a big upset.
Our momentum is very, very good right now. Our team meshes just really well. We're a big, happy family. We do things right all the time and everything like that. And we expect to prepare for Dilley the same way we prepare for every game. We go fast, we go hard, and we come out strong.
We just got to come out and play our game for 4 quarters. We should come out on top.
Past couple games haven't gone our way, but I feel like as long as we keep our head high and keep practicing hard, I feel like we can turn this around.
I know they're a challenge. I know they're state ranked, but we always welcome stuff like that. It's part of how it is as a football player.
That a guy. Bring them on. Poth will put their undefeated #1 ranking on the line Friday night in Dilley with a 7:30 kickoff, and KSAT 12 Sports will be there.
As always.
Yes, you bet.
University of Pittsburgh scientists say a new drug could treat and prevent COVID-19. Details on this discovery coming up in the next half hour.
And wildfires continue to rage in the western part of the country. At least a dozen fires now burning. How air quality is growing concern in the community surrounding those flames.
We're continuing to watch several wildfires burning in western states. The death toll in California, Oregon, and Washington increasing now to 27. And now the most polluted cities in the world are on our west coast. In fact, Portland, Oregon, now the most polluted city in America. And unfortunately, that's expected to be the case for days to come. Up and down the west coast from Canada to Mexico. About 28 major fires are burning in the state of California. Officials there say this historic wildfire season can't be blamed on just dry, dead wood piled up on the forest floor, though. Officials in California say this historic wildfire season can't, again, be blamed on that.
If we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Hey, well, I don't think science knows, actually.
In Oregon, authorities say 1 in 10 visits to the emergency room are due to the inhalation of this wildfire smoke.
Today, Louisville's Metro government expected to announce a multi-million-dollar settlement with the family of Breonna Taylor. She's the 26-year-old black woman who was shot and killed by police in her apartment 6 months ago. That's according to the Curdle Journal. In addition to the payment, the deal is expected to include several policing reforms, including a requirement that commanders approve all search warrants before they go to a judge. Another reform allowing for drug and alcohol testing of officers involved in any shooting. The settlement comes as a Jefferson County grand jury could hear the criminal case as soon as this week. The grand jury would decide whether criminal charges should be filed against any of the 3 officers involved in Taylor's death. A grand jury has indicted a Texas police officer who shot and killed a woman in emotional distress last year. Officials say Juan de la Cruz is now being charged with aggravated assault by a public servant. In a statement from Baytown Police, the department asks that the community continues to have faith and trust in Baytown Police. It was in May of 2019 when De La Cruz attempted to arrest Turner, a Baytown complex, when she grabbed his taser and he fired his gun. If convicted, De La Cruz could face up to life in prison.
A big step toward what could be more peace in the Middle East. Representatives from Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain are at the White House today for what could be a dramatic shift in Middle East power dynamics. Multiple historic peace agreements between Israel and 2 Gulf Arab nations are being sealed this afternoon. More than 700 guests are on the South Lawn to witness the signing of those official documents, which President Trump formally witnessed. This peace negotiation expected to pave the way for less tension in the Middle East following decades of war and hostilities. It could be just the start. Saudi Arabia is said to be next to sign a similar agreement recognizing the Jewish state.
President Donald Trump continues to hold large rallies in the final stretch before the presidential election.
All this while coronavirus deaths close in on 200,000. And wildfires, as we said, are raging in the West. ABC's Faith Abube has the latest.
Before holding a large campaign rally in Phoenix, Arizona, President Donald Trump stepping into a climate change controversy in wildfire-ravaged California.
This is one of the biggest burns we've ever seen, and we have to do a lot about forest management.
Despite the views of local leaders and most scientists that climate change is responsible for the record-setting wildfires, President Trump expressing skepticism.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Hey, well, I don't think science knows, actually.
Joe Biden in Delaware Tuesday sharply criticizing the president for his views on climate change and science in general.
It's science. And our response should be the same, grounded in science, acting together All of us.
This as another controversy over politics possibly overriding science brews in Washington. The president's top spokesperson at the Department of Health and Human Services facing backlash after a report in Politico claims he was pressuring CDC scientists to change their weekly reports on the COVID-19 pandemic to better align with the president's more optimistic messages. As the death toll from the virus closes in on 200,000 in the U.S., President Trump defends his handling of the virus in a newly released audio excerpt from an interview between him and Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward for his book, Rage.
More could have been done. Nothing more could have been done. Well, I acted early.
And tonight, President Trump will be in the battleground state of Pennsylvania for an ABC News town hall. He'll be taking questions directly from uncommitted voters who could decide this election. And Joe Biden will have a similar town hall event on Thursday with another network. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Outside with live cam 85 here, cloudy, hot, humid, and down on the coast, they are preparing for a long stretch of nothing but rain.
Oh, yeah, parts of Alabama and Georgia, it's going to be a lot of rain down there as Sally moves ashore. We'll have more on Sally coming up in just a bit. I want to show you a great picture on our KSAT Connect. This is from Irma out of San Antonio. She says, looks like the moon is smiling. Sure is. A waning crescent moon there. Beautiful shot. We appreciate the pictures as always. And let's take a look at the satellite picture here. We've got some clouds trying to bubble up, so we may see a couple of isolated storms develop. If we do, probably be somewhere in this corridor here, although I don't know that we'll see all that much today. Rain chances are about 20%. We're not going to see anything widespread. We'll probably save that for later this week when rain chances increase a little bit. Temperature is certainly warm. 85 degrees at the airport, 82 Bulverde, 84 Randolph, 88 right now at Port SA, and up to 91 now. Castroville. Forecast for today, 92 degrees by 5 o'clock. We'll call for a 20% chance of rain. Temperatures will be slow to cool down tonight. 81 degrees, 10 o'clock. Northerly winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. And we have some more rain chances, as we mentioned, by the end of the week. We'll have another look at that 7-day forecast in just a bit. Guys.
All right, Justin, thanks. A group of scientists say they have discovered a new drug that could treat coronavirus and even prevent it. The researchers from the University of Pittsburgh say they identified a small piece of an antibody that neutralizes SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. They used the molecule to create a drug that they believe can treat and even stop the virus from spreading. They say the drug has been tested on mice and hamsters. The scientists published their findings in the journal Cell Monday.
As stay-at-home orders popped up in different states this spring, the number of COVID infections in those areas dropped.
That's according to a new study. As CNN's Mandy Gaither shows us, that study bolsters the argument behind staying home during a pandemic.
When states started issuing strict stay-at-home orders this spring, not only did people tend to follow them, but it helped slow the spread of COVID-19. That's according to a new study published in the journal JAMA Network Open. Using data from more than 45 million cell phones between March 11th and April 10th, researchers were able to see how far and how often people traveled each day. The findings highlighted the results in the 5 states where infections were highest at the time.
Mobility went down significantly. There was a significant decrease. People stayed at home more. Their distance that they traveled was far less, and you saw a significant decrease in COVID transmission as well. So people did abide by the stay-at-home orders.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is not part of the study, says the research is both promising and also a reminder of what happens if certain steps aren't taken soon enough or are let up too early.
What they also have seen in other studies was that had that stay-at-home order gone into effect 2 weeks earlier, right now there would likely be about 80% decreased overall viral spread in this country. Significant. What we do now will have a much more significant impact, a couple months from now.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
NASA has found a big similarity between Earth and the planet often referred to as Earth's twin. The discovery made on Venus that could point to signs of life.
YouTube ready to compete with TikTok. Details on the new app. It's launching after the break.
Hello, everyone. This is your Daily Tech and Business Briefing from Cheddar.
Move over TikTok. YouTube announcing that they're soon going to launch a new social media video platform called Shorts. The new service is going to work just like TikTok. Users record short vertical videos and then add special effects and soundtracks pulled from a music library. The service is going to launch in India over the next few days and then will eventually expand to more countries in the coming months. Meanwhile, Microsoft is going to launch their Netflix-style cloud gaming service today as part of their $15 a month subscription bundle. The new streaming platform called xCloud is going to come as a free add-on to their Xbox Game Pass Ultimate service. This giving subscribers access to hundreds of new gaming titles. Now, as of now, the service only available on Android devices. And Taco Bell announcing their very own custom wine. They're calling this Jalapeno Noir, which, contrary to the name, does not actually taste like jalapenos. The wine is actually made in a vineyard in Ontario and has notes of wild strawberry, cherry, and beetroot. As of now, the wine only available for a limited time in Canada. And that's your Cheddar Business and Tech Update. I'm Baker Machado, coming to you from Cheddar Studios in Lower Manhattan.
Lego going to be phasing out single-use plastic packaging in favor of recyclable paper. According to a statement from the Lego Group, the new bags will start to show up in Lego boxes in 2021. It's part of a $400 million investment in sustainability initiatives over the next 3 years. The company's vice president of environmental responsibility says Lego plans to make all packaging sustainable by the end of 2025.
LG unveiling its new phone, the LG Wing. The mobile phone is a unique take on a dual-screen smart device. It has two touch screens, and the main one swivels. That reveals a secondary, smaller screen at the bottom. The phone is equipped with 3 cameras. 3? Why do you need 3? A motorized pop-up selfie camera. It's going to be released in South Korea first and then in the U.S. So far, there's no word on how much it'll cost you, but it looks like a pretty penny.
Speaking of pretty pennies, Hotels.com announced it aims to be the first online travel site to offer future hotel bookings in space. Starting today, you can visit the company's new intergalactic booking page where travelers may be able to eventually take out-of-this-world vacations from spacesuit robes, moon boot slippers, and space deck pool with 360-degree views of the Milky Way. The vacation of a lifetime awaits in space.
To be announced, though. And once you're up there, you may see this. Researchers say they have detected a gas in the atmosphere of Venus. The particular compound is phosphine. On Earth, the flammable gas occurs when organic matter breaks down. It's also produced by bacteria that doesn't need oxygen, like organisms living in wetlands. That means something could be alive on Venus, or I think more specifically, floating above Venus. They're saying it's in the clouds.
That'd be cool.
Above Venus.
And you can see from that hotel that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, so they're going to put a hotel on Venus. This is what I'm getting from all this.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the line.
Not a very hospitable planet.
It doesn't seem that way. Maybe in 300 years. We'll get there. Live camera shows that we've got some clouds out there. 85 degrees right now. The low this morning, 75. Wasn't so bad, but that is still above the average. 90 and 69 are the averages. Records are 98 and 57, set back in 1988 and 1989. No rainfall today. Lucky few may get some rainfall. We're also going to take a look at the smoke out west. Is that affecting us here in Texas? We'll look at some of the models coming up.
Smooth sailing here in San Antonio, not so much the case over in Mississippi and Alabama.
Feel for those people, man.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty wild across the country because we've got a hurricane now, and then we got these fires going in the western part of the country. We're sort of stuck in the middle where things are okay, thankfully. But you go out west, boy, there's a ton of fires. This map shows where all the fires are there on the west coast, and there are just a lot of smoke to deal with too, on top of all that. So we have a model here that shows where some of that smoke is going. And it does show that some of it tries to work towards the middle part of the country, but we haven't seen a whole lot here in Texas. There's been a few reports of some light concentrations maybe up in the Texas Panhandle and then far west Texas, but none of it really gets down into deep south Texas, which is good news. We've got that question a little bit. Are we seeing some of the smoke from that blowing in our direction? Not really yet, but things could change. The winds change a little bit. We can see some of that. Most of the really heavy concentrations, though, are not surprisingly out in California, parts of Oregon, where things are just in bad shape and probably will stay that way for a while longer. Outside here in San Antonio right now, 85 degrees. Dew point is at 70. That number's high, so we're going to have a little bit of a heat index today, even though we have a north-northeasterly wind at about 12 miles per hour. Satellite picture shows some cloud cover out there. We've got a little bit maybe trying to bubble up into a shower or two, but so far, nothing on the radar. 86 Port SA, 79 Bernie Stage, 88 New Braunfels, 84 Seguin, 84 Kerrville, 79 Rock Springs right now, 84 down there in Kennedy. And it's this corridor here where you see some of those clouds trying to become a little bit thicker that we could see a shower or two. But rain chances today aren't great. Most of the rain is going to stay relegated to deep south Texas, where we have showers and storms this hour that are developing, still associated with some tropical moisture down there. And our forecast calls for a trough of low pressure actually to come out of New Mexico. And this will enhance our rain chances a little bit. I think tomorrow, maybe a few more showers and storms. Best chance at this point looks to be on Thursday when we get the most energy here over top of us, and then this will shift out of here by Friday. We talked about the tropics being extremely active. Here's another look at the map. We got Paulette, Vicky, Teddy, Sally. You name it. We'll probably have Wilfred here pretty soon too. We'll go through the entire alphabet here when we're talking about names, and we may have to go into the Greek alphabet. If you're curious about that, meteorologist Sarah Spivey just wrote a great article on KSAT.com, explains how we come up with these names and why we'll be going into the Greek alphabet. But all we have left now is Wilfred. That's the last name on the list. Next storm would be Alpha from the Greek alphabet. Here's a look at Sally, and pretty symmetrical storm here. It still isn't terribly strong. We're talking about a Cat 1 here, but the issue is storm surge, because it's just sort of sitting here and it's pushing all that water into the coast. And then you got a lot of heavy rain on top of that. Some record-setting rainfall here. Winds right now at 80 miles per hour. It's actually weakened a little bit just at this latest update. Gusts to 115, and it's moving northwest still at only 2 miles per hour. Looks like we may get landfall early tomorrow morning, and this will slowly work its way off to the north and east. As it does, it'll produce a lot of heavy rain. Right now we're thinking on the order of 10 inches here. Mobile, Mobile, thank you. I knew that. Biloxi over to Pensacola, and then the heaviest of the rain will stretch up into parts of Georgia as well. So forecast for us today, 89 degrees at 2 o'clock, 92 your high temperature, 20% chance of rain, northerly winds 5 to 15 miles per hour, and then 30% chance on Wednesday, 40% chance Thursday, and another 40% chance on Friday. With lower humidity here this weekend, we'll get some drier air moving in on Saturday and Sunday. And I've said Mobile a million times, but for some reason,
you just got to have kind of that southern twang to it. Oh, Mobile.
There you go. That's perfect.
All right.
Coming up in a few minutes of sports, UTSA coach Jeff Traylor won in his debut with the Roadrunners. Jessica Hunt with more on why fans are really excited for the new head coach. It was an incredible game between I-35 rivals UTSA and Texas State this weekend. After being down 24-7 in the first half, the Bobcats scored 34 second-half points to force that game into overtime. The teams traded touchdowns in the first OT, and even before Saturday's win, fans were anxious to see the new-look team under first-year coach Jeff Traylor. Jessica Hunt has more for us.
It's going to be a close game. This is probably the best Bobcat team that we've faced. I still expect the Roadrunners to pull it out, but it's going to be a close one.
Although a 51-48 double overtime win over I-35 rivals Texas State in their season opener doesn't hurt, Runners fans were already poised to embrace the Jeff Traylor era at UTSA.
I'm super excited. He's from Texas. He's played football in Texas, so he knows Texas football. So I'm super excited to see what he's going to do with our guys this season.
I think he's great. He brings a lot of energy to the team. He's got fans excited again to go to the games.
Even current students say there's a buzz on campus about the change in regime.
I know some of the players on the team, I know they really like the environment that they're getting right now, and I know they're really enjoying the team as a whole.
It's also important how Traylor has embraced the local talent.
We're going to start to see a lot of home players from San Antonio be on the team and show out. I think that's really cool.
Single digits for strength, the 210, that represents San Antonio, and he understands what those kids are looking for. Those are all the guys that represent the local area.
And speaking of that 2-0 program, local high school standouts Frank Harris, a Clemens grad, had a monster game against Texas State with 4 combined touchdowns, and Judson's Rashad Wisdom 10 tackles, and of course that 81-yard pick 6. Both wear number 0. For Instant Replay, I'm Jessica Hunt.
NCAA football this week. It's Stephen F. Austin at UTSA. That's Saturday at 2 o'clock in the Dome, and Texas State at UL Monroe Saturday at 6. It's going to be weird to see the game inside the Alamo Dome and all
Nobody
the
there.
echoes and stuff.
We still got to wait 2 weeks for Smell Shoe football.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll
Hold
cheer them on.
They're practicing. It's almost time for SA. We don't have to wait 2 weeks for SA Live. Look at there. Boom.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
They're sipping on some tasty drinks over there, and I'm hoping they'll
How'd
share.
that work out?
This is how to get the show started.
Yes, indeed. Because today on SA Live, hey, the celebrations for Mexico's Independence Day begin with a cheers. Kristen Ortiz with Dolce Vita Tequila shares cocktails with the authentic Mexican ingredients.
And we support local businesses in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month. SA Live put together a list of local businesses you can support.
Yes, indeed. Plus, hey, need to fix up your wooden furniture? We share some easy methods for turning old tables into new, great-looking workspaces.
And if you have a loved one that can't have gluten in their sweets, then we have a treat for you. The little gluten-free chefs are here.
Okay, we have the question for you now. We want to know, what is better, margarita or Paloma?
Don't think, just answer quick.
Yes.
Let us know at SA Live KSAT on Facebook and Twitter, and you may see your answer on the show.
They all taste really good, too. SA Live continues.